Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome to those of you that are online in many different forms. We've got lots of ways to tune in this evening. This is the beginning of something new for us, something old and something new. You know, we've been kind of apart from each other here on Wednesday nights for a very long time. And it's been basically an online audience. But we have people coming back into the room with what we affectionately call rapping with the Rev, which is a chance to create some interaction, to take some ideas that I get to share as the minister, and to hear from you. Take some of the ideas that we share on Sunday morning and maybe dissect them a little bit more, dig them a little bit deeper. And so the meditation tonight is going to be based upon some things that I shared on Sunday. And the meditation will be from 7 to 7:30. And at 7:30, we're going to take a breath. And we're going to invite people here in the sanctuary and those of you online to offer questions, to offer maybe a counter opinion to what is shared here, because we're here to get our questions answered, but also to get our answers questioned. The environment becomes really rich with dialogue, and where there are two or more gathered in the name of growth and learning, only good can happen. So that's going to happen at 7:30 till about 8:15. So during the meditation, if there's an idea shared that sparks something in you, just make a mental note about it and be willing to come up to the microphone. And I know sometimes that's intimidating, so those of you in the room, we will run a microphone to you if we have to, but we hope that you'll come up. Those of you online, we're working on the technology. Wes and Sebastian have been up there working like crazy to have all these different modalities. Some might be joining us on Zoom tonight. And you're going to be able to type your questions into the Zoom chat. We're working on getting you to be in the room where we can hear your voice. Those of you on the stream, it's the same thing. Those questions will come on the stream, and Sebastian will yell down from the heavens up there what question you've put in, and we'll do our best to dialogue about that here in this room. So we're going to begin our meditation, but I want to take as the basis for the dialogue a quote as I was preparing for this evening. I don't know, it was anonymous. I don't know who said this, but I found it really beautiful as a foundation for the house that I want to build tonight. And this is what it says. When something is no longer personal, the veils contained within the individuality lift and the bigger picture arises. Seeing something as good or bad establishes mental boundaries and centrally localizes the story to one of me and you, me and them, a place of separation. It limits the vision within the bubble of our story. Being able to watch what arises without any attempt at manipulation shows us all the nuances with a broader dynamic, both subtle and gross, easily recognized, and maybe underneath the surface. In other words, awareness that is beyond any individual shows the energetic global connection, the spiritual connection of us, inherent in each and every connection. We truly are walking each other home. And so I'm going to invite you to begin our meditation time by taking a deep breath with me. Let that breath be the only thing that you feel, you sense, and you know right now as we enter the inner sanctuary of the breath itself. Take another deep breath, and on the exhale, simply release anything that would keep you from being present. The story, the veils are going to drop tonight. Let the veils drop. And begin to become mindfully aware of the rhythm of your breath. Find your own rhythm, your own pattern. But let each breath go to a deeper and deeper place. And let the space between those breaths become more expansive. That breath is a symbol to your body that all is well, that all is safe right now. No need to control or be in any story, just breathing. And the breath is a signal to the mind to let go of story. So the mind chatter begins to fade away, and any preconceived notion of what's going to happen here tonight fades into the background. And that breath allows the heart rate to begin to slow. And all your systems begin to realize all is well in this now moment. What happened before now is less important than what is happening right now. I'm breathing. And let that breath lead us to a place of connection, a place of openness and vulnerability to the oneness of all creation. That's our topic tonight. To our oneness with the earth, to our oneness with all of Earth's creatures, to our oneness with each other as a human race, with all the nuances and differences, all the opinions and judgments. The breath leads us to a deeper reality, one of unity. Feel that breath at depth. Feel that breath, that symbol of life. And know that we're all breathing together right now. Those in the room, those online, or those in Zoom, we are all breathing right now at the same time, in our own unique way. Within the diversity of who we are, let us find a unity within the breath. And so our first chant to consider on this path to oneness, the words are, there is no you, there is no me, there's only God that I can see. There is no us, and there is no them, there's only God. Amen, amen. If you're so led to sing with me, please do. Otherwise, just sit into the energy of the breath leading you to oneness. There is no you, there is no me, there's only God that I can see. There is no you, there is no me, there's only God that I can see. There is no us, there is no us, there is no them, there's only God. Amen. There is no us, there is no them, there's only God. Amen. With each note, with each word, with each breath, we sink more deeply and profoundly into the oneness of all creation, of all people. There is no you, there is no me, there's only God that I can see. There is no you, there is no me, there's only God that I can see. There is no us, there is no them, there's only God. Amen. There is no us, there is no them, there's only God. Amen. Sit quietly and peacefully in this now moment as the music continues, with a deep sense of awe and wonder for the oneness of all people. All people. invite you to bring to mind one particular person. Bring them into this quiet sanctuary, the sanctuary of your breath and your heart. And allow the word Namaste to live in you. Sanskrit word that simply means the God within me beholds the God within you. The good that expresses within me sees and beholds the good that expresses as you. Maybe you choose to bring somebody where that's easy to do. Or maybe you choose somebody where it's a little bit more challenging. Is it possible to see the good in everyone? What does it require of you, of us, to see the good in everyone? What is needed for the world to live in the breath of Namaste? The light that I am beholds the light that you are. You are beautiful and you are whole. Maybe start with somebody easy. The good in me beholds the good in you. Namaste. Sing with me. The good in me beholds the good in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. Bring another person to mind. Maybe somebody that you have kept at bay, kept at arm's length away from you. Is it possible that despite all your judgments, all your opinions and experiences, that you too can still see Namaste in that other person? Hold them close as we sing again. The good in me beholds the good in you. Namaste. The good in me beholds the good in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. Where is the border or the boundary to Namaste? To our love, to our ability to find God even when it is dark, to find the light even when it seems like all hope is gone. Bring that person to mind right now. And just be aware of whatever is up within you as you put that face in front of yours, being asked to sing, the good in me beholds the good in you. Even though you've forgotten it, I will not give up that view. The good in me beholds the good in you. Namaste. The good in me beholds the good in you. You are beautiful. You are whole. those that believe that the energy of Namaste is what the world needs to heal from all the divisions. Let us sit in a few moments of silent reflection to just contemplate that statement, that the healing of the world depends on our individual ability to hold Namaste even when it is dark. Keep breathing, keep knowing, keep still in the silence. Charles Fillmore once said, "The sure remedy for all of humanity's challenges and problems is to sit down for 20 minutes every day and forgive everybody, everything. Inevitably to return to the place of oneness and Namaste, we must forgive. We must let go of the errors, the mistakes, the moments of less than, the behaviors that appear less than, the behaviors of others, and our own behaviors. I invite you to sit in the energy of forgiveness as the very vehicle to return to oneness, to live in the energy of the healing that Namaste brings. I forgive you. Maybe bring that last person to mind again. I forgive you. And maybe the only forgiveness we need of ourselves is the place within us that chose judgment over Namaste, that chose division over unity because it was too difficult. Oh, it may be justified. But if we're going to return home together, as the reading said, we must find forgiveness. Unity is right on the other side of it. Breathe that in. Unity, oneness, will always be on the other side of forgiveness, of self and of all. Our next chant, I forgive you, I forgive me, I forgive all, and I live my life in peace. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive all and live my life in peace. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive all and live my life in peace. Peace is on the other side. of forgiveness. Peace is preceded by inclusivity. Namaste. Acceptance. Oh, not just tolerance, but acceptance. And once again, we ask the question, where is the border and the boundary to our love? Where is the border and the boundary to our forgiveness? And let us know that the exact distance we put between ourselves and anyone is the exact distance we put between ourselves and God as oneness. Just breathe that in as we sing one last time. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive all and live my life in peace. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive all and live my life in peace. As the music continues, sit in the energy, the powerful energy of forgiveness, and let peace wash over you as you do. What if there is only one of us here on earth? What if everything we see, we experience, we feel, we know is nothing but a reflection, and that everything is a great mirror? That the oneness that we seek was always there, but like a dog or a cat playing with its reflection in the mirror, we paw at it, but it's simply us that we see. Hold the idea of this phrase, you are my reflection. I am your reflection. We are mirrors for each other. What if there was only one of us here gathered tonight? Whether we be in the room, on Zoom, on a stream, on Facebook, or 1,000 miles away. What if there was only one of us here? Just sit with that. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. Hold that notion and that truth and that idea close. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. One last time. There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. For just a minute of silence, be with the idea that there is only one. We end the reflection time with the words that we began with, that we may come into the room and be able to discuss them. When something is no longer personal, the veils contained within the individuality lift and the bigger picture arises. Seeing something as good or bad establishes mental boundaries and centrally localizes the story to one of me and them. It limits our vision within the bubble of our story. Being able to watch what arises without attempts at manipulation shows all the nuances within a broader dynamic, both subtle and gross. In other words, awareness that is beyond any individual shows the energetic global connection inherent in each and every connection. We are truly walking each other home. And so once again, I invite you to return to your breath, to bring your awareness to wherever you happen to be, and those in the room, bring your awareness into this space. We're going to take some of the ideas that we had in that meditation and hear from you about them. So bring that breath, let it lead you back into an awareness. Maybe stretch your body a little bit, open your eyes. And I'm going to move. The camera's going to follow me, I hope. And I'm going to turn on my other mic. This is going to be a microphone for us in the room to be able to come up. This one here. Julie's got one as well. And if we need to, if you're more comfortable, we'll bring the microphone to you. But it's important. You know, we understand in a spiritual community. So am I good to take that one away? We're still good on the stream? You can hear me okay? Can't quite see me yet. Okay. Wes has been working triple time up in the booth to make sure that we can get to anybody who happens to be watching on stream. And you are also valuable to our dialogue tonight. But, you know, we talk a lot here at Unity, as we did tonight, about inclusivity and oneness and, of course, unity. What does that mean to us. What does true unity mean? It's a wonderful concept, and it feels good when we come together to talk about unity. But is this possible? We have critics in the unity movement that say the idea of unity within our diversity is an impossibility, that we are so different and we're so diametrically opposed in our opinions and our judgments and our decisions about who we are and how we go through the world that it is not possible. I like to think that we can come together, and we do come together as a community, as a movement, and we demonstrate that we don't have to think alike to find unity, that we don't have to look alike to find unity, and that we don't have to agree with each other even to find unity. So I want to know, does anybody think that is absolutely impossible? Or do you think it's possible, and what does it take from us in order to create that possibility? I certainly have my ideas, but I want to hear from all of you. And I know this first time out, it's going to be a little shy. Those of you online, you can put your comments or your questions in there. Those of you in the room, it's a little more intimidating because you will be on camera when you come up here. But don't be shy, because I believe you're beautiful. You're magnificent. So what does it take from us? What does it take from us to find true unity? I talked about the other churches on Sunday. Many of the people that come to Unity North have been excluded. They have been ostracized as less than, or they needed to change in order to fit in that environment. And they made their way to our door. They made their way to Unity with the idea, I'm looking for a place where I can be myself completely, uniquely me, but still find a place of spiritual connection. So I'm going to open up the field at this point. I've got a whole bunch of questions here, and I'll keep talking and yakking and asking questions. But really, the wealth of the time will be spent in rapping with the Rev, in the Rev putting on his ears and hearing what you have to say. And no comment is off the table. We got somebody online saying anything?
Not yet. You might want to tell the people watching they can go to unitynorth.org and
Yes, you can go to Unity North. Go ahead and tell them, Julie.
Yeah, I'm not quite on. I don't know if you can get me on there. Thank you. So you can go to unitynorth.org and you'll see Rappin' with the Rev and click and you'll get the Zoom link. We have a few people on Zoom now, but if you're watching out in Facebook or YouTube, feel free to jump onto the Zoom link and or put your comments in, and I'm going to try to keep track of all of them.
And we're figuring this all out. This is a brand new experiment. So I told Judith Johnson, I said, I know you're always brave and you're one for a good experiment. So Judith, I'm going to let you have the microphone.
Wow, there's so much.
Oh, is that microphone on? It's off. Okay. We'll take care of it and give you this one.
All right. There's so much that came up for me tonight, and I so appreciate and having the mask on so I can cry and dab my tears was wonderful. I believe that we can be as one, and we can, in spite of our diversity and our differences. And for me, I think being willing to give people the benefit of the doubt is really, really important, because it keeps me from making a judgment in the moment. And giving that space is helpful. The other thing is, I think a lot of people think, well, I have to understand somebody else and their difference in order for me to feel unified with them. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think we have to know everything about the other person and have an education about how they are. I think it comes to believing what they tell us about what their truth is. So that's kind of what I use.
You said something there, a couple of things that I want to run with. And this is what Rapping with the Rev is. We're going to run with where the dialogue wants to go. But you said suspending your judgment, that I have to put my judgment aside. Is it possible that there can be discernment, maybe not judgment, but a discernment about what feels good or doesn't feel good to me, but I can still find a place of oneness with somebody that I'm interacting with? Is that possible?
If I'm looking for only the negative, I will see it. And if I'm looking for what is the positive, I will see it. And then I can choose which one I accept, which one is important.
So that's a faculty of discernment. There is
Yes.
a judgment involved in that, what I'm looking for, and we teach in Unity that you're going to find people will show up the way that you expect them to show up.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something, I guarantee you're going to find it. in even the best person. And if you're looking for something bad, you're going to find it. If you're looking for something good, even in the worst person, you will find that. But you talked about understanding as being important. You know, I was reflecting upon the prayer of St. Francis, who said we must seek first to understand and then to be understood. How do you do that? And anybody else can talk too, but you've got the mic, so I'll go to you.
Well, I think that's where compassion comes in. Because if I have compassion for another person's situation, I have more understanding. I allow myself to have more understanding than if my mind is closed and that's not there. At least that's my experience.
I appreciate it. And why don't you just take that microphone out there, because maybe somebody will say something.
We have one here.
There's somebody online. And
Yep.
I think Marianne wants the microphone.
Okay.
Okay. Marianne, do you want to go now?
No, go, let's go online.
Okay, so Marilyn Bonniger says, I like the analogy of the body. Each organ does its own job, and only when they all work together is there wholeness.
She's quoting St. Paul. St. Paul talks about the whole of the body. How dare the hand say to the foot, I have no need of you? How dare the eye? How could the eye say to the ear, I have no need of you? They are all necessary components. And a little understanding and compassion. I like to teach compassion. I like to find compassion in my own heart. Is it possible that I can have judgment and compassion all at the same time? And is the unity that we seek, the ability to have a sense of oneness, does it actually require both judgment and compassion at the same time? I don't know that, I think it's possible, but some people would say, no, if I'm in a place of judgment, you know, that I cannot be a compassionate, loving person. I got the mic here. Hi.
Hey.
Come on up a little closer. We'll get you on film.
Okay. I can put it back in.
You can just hold it. That's okay.
Yeah, that's easier. Kind of piggybacking off your first question about being able to see being able to unite with one. Okay, I don't know. I had a mindset from there, and then with the talking, it kind of like went away. But what I want to say is really finding compassion in yourself too, because we all know that we have these so-called flaws or things like that, and we have to see that we're not the only ones who are imperfect. Other people are imperfect, but we're scared of showing that we're imperfect. So when we let people understand that, like, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, we're all the same perfect imperfections, and we're all reflections of each other as well. But from my perspective, gosh, I kind of forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. Can I play
when
with
the lights and stuff hit me?
I know it's intimidating.
No, so what
We're
I
going to
wanna-
get comfortable. Can I play with a couple things that you said?
Please. So I can
We
go back.
talked about forgiveness. We sang a song
Yeah.
of forgiveness in the meditation. Recognizing that I am imperfect, I have to realize that I fall down, I make mistakes, and I wasn't compassionate yesterday, but I can get to compassion on the other side because my goal is the oneness.
Right.
And so letting yourself not off the hook, but going, I can do better tomorrow. I've got to forgive myself. And if we cut that slack for ourselves, we have to cut it for another if we have the common desire to get there.
Yes, that's basically the idea of what I was coming up with. So yeah, you got it right. And then also just, I have to think of where I'm going with this, but knowing that everyone is on that path to reach greatness, no matter what kind of state they're in or condition that they're in or the life that they're living, everybody is going towards greatness. And so just accepting the fact that everyone wants to be somewhere better, somewhere at peace, regardless of where they are, is understanding, okay, we all have the same goal, and that's peace. And no matter how we get there, is how we're getting there. And the one God, many paths, one God, it's like seeing all of that is, it's
So
accepting
just,
that
can I see a
everybody's
show of
going the
hands? How
same
many
way.
people in the room are online? You can do it too. How many of you really want peace? Oh, we share that. We all have a common desire for peace. How many want to live into your greatness and want to live into the full potential of who you are? We share that. Isn't it interesting? If we seek that which unites us as opposed to that which divides us, we're maybe a little bit closer, but we all want the same thing. I've had dialogues here in this church about different religions, different politics, different ways of living. But when you get down to the end of it, what do we all really want? We all want peace. We all want to know we're making a difference. We all want to know that we are loved. And we have a different way to get there. But if we can meet each other at the goal and not on necessarily the path, we're already living into that which is the truth of us that we had forgotten. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you take that microphone?
Yes.
Mary Ann had her hand up right over there. It just kicked you off Zoom? You're back. I want to ask you a question before Mary Ann. Go ahead and come up to the, go ahead, Mary Ann, come up to the mic. But do we have to manufacture something in order to do that? You know, do we have to be inauthentic? If we're having a feeling or an emotion that feels less than compassionate, do I have to manufacture an interaction with somebody in order to find oneness? Because there were those that would say that we have to be inauthentic to do that. And though in an environment where we're all getting along, there are those that would come in and say, this is inauthentic, and that is almost watered down because we're not sharing our truth. When it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to freedom of religion, when it comes to freedom of expression, do we have to water down what we believe and who we are in order to find oneness? Do we have to be inauthentic in order to get along with each other? Unity would tell us that no, that the inauthenticity is what causes the rub. That the being inauthentic in an environment where you have to be fake is what's going to cause the conflict. And that on the other side of being real is where we find that common desire for peace, for love, for greatness. So it's just the opposite. The more authentic we become, the more the environment can get comfortable with authenticity and honesty and freedom of speech, freedom of expression. That's a great ideal. Is that even possible? I don't know. But Mary Ann, you had wanted to say something, so can you stand up? So, are you going to sit there and do it?
Yeah.
We can still get to the back of your head.
Okay. A couple of things. If you see me close one eye over the next month, I'm not winking at you. I had cataract surgery on one eye, so I'm not winking
Oh, I
at
thought I was special.
I'm not winking at you. And I take a medication that makes me confused, so.
Yeah, hold the mic close.
Okay, and if I take a medication that makes me confused, so if I lose my train of thought, be patient.
You're fine.
Okay. A couple of things. I personally don't feel like I have the right to judge anybody ever. I just don't think we have the right to judge people.
Can I ask you, is there a border? Is there a border to our love? I asked it in the meditation. Is there a time when you go, this is not of love and this behavior is unacceptable in my environment, I need to say something? If I'm not judging, there could be mass chaos in the world. What do you think?
I don't know.
And there's no wrong or right answer here. It's just asking more questions. Go ahead and continue with your thought.
Okay. Now I'm totally losing it. Well, one thing, an example I wanted to give was that is relevant, I think, is that I have a bunch of high school people I went to high school with, and there's a group of us, and I'm the only one that thinks completely different than they do. I'm the liberal, they're very conservative. We're totally opposite in religious beliefs and political beliefs in this small group, but they still love me. They tell me they love me.
What does it take for them? Anybody want? What does it take from them to do that?
I don't know, but I love them so much, and they love me, and I'm so proud of that. And they know who I am, and they know how I think, and it's just so beautiful and so wonderful. We grew up together in this really small town of about 2,500 people, and we just treasure our childhood together. I think that's the bond we have.
Can I ask you a question? When you get together with your friends, is the conversation surface level? Or are you able to share about your belief systems? Are you able to share about the differences and still remain in that place of love?
On an individual basis sometimes, yes, but not in a group.
Okay.
On a one-to-one basis, at times we can. But it gets, I can talk to them about God, but we don't define it exactly. And I don't think they completely understand the way I define God.
There's back to that understanding.
You know.
Do I have to understand you to love you?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
But I've written and self-published some books, and in one of the books, they've all read it, and in the book I talk about my religious beliefs a little bit, and I talk about it on a level that they get. They get it, and they understand it, and it's on a level they can understand.
So let me ask you a question about that. When we talk to each other, I mean, let's be real. Can we have difficult conversations and maintain unity? I have to be willing, you have to be willing to talk at a level to meet them where they are.
Yes.
As opposed to talking from an elevated position where you need to, you have to, you should. Let me come down and let's converse at a level where we can find that commonality, that common connection, even though we don't agree on how to get there. Is it possible to have a difficult conversation more than one-on-one? You said it's really good one-on-one, but when the group, we avoid it. I want to ask the question of everybody in the room. Do we have to homogenize and to water down and in order to assimilate into a space of oneness? That which we can do one-on-one is easy, but all of a sudden we've got 50 people in a room, 50 people online, and they're all listening. Is that same potential possible? We wouldn't be in a unity church if we didn't think it was possible. But what do you think? And what are the levels? You know, in the kingdom of heaven, there are many rooms, many mansions, many levels to getting to that place of oneness. Are we just basically homogenizing ourselves and playing small in an environment to find unity? Or can we get actually bigger by finding unity?
I've done it with a few other people too. I used to own and rental property, and I've talked to people that were, I hate to say this, but you would call Jesus freaks. You know what I mean.
I have some wonderful, I used to be a Jesus freak. Guess what? I'm still a Jesus freak. He's my main guy.
That sort of person, and I've talked to them on a level where we could both, you know, understand each other and really communicate on the level where we really got each other
I appreciate
and
that.
understood each other.
So understanding has come up yet again, and judgment is there. I want to pass the mic to somebody else, and a couple online. So as you come up to the microphone, we're going to get the ones online. But Marianne, thank you so much for sharing. What rules have to be, there have to be some rules. If there's no judgment, then there's no rules. And there's no borders or boundaries. Is it possible that chaos will just ensue, and then in order to get along, we have to water things down? Who's online?
David Pritchard says on Facebook, there's a difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment is external, discernment is internal. I can disagree with your behavior, but not judge you. Discernment allows me to set boundaries and refuse to put up with your behavior. David.
I love that. Well, that's exactly it. I can love you. I have some people in my life that I can love much more powerfully from afar. I'm not in the field. And what I found is when I can separate myself with a sense of discernment, this is not a safe environment for me, but I won't give up my ability to see God, to see love, to know that underneath all of this behavior and all of these opinions is something holy and good. The Namaste, the good in me will behold the good in you, but I'm going to discern that I can do that better from afar. That's okay. And it's even okay in an environment. You may come into the Unity Church knowing that everyone's seeking unity, but you're going to choose to sit on that side of the room until you're able to absolutely assimilate to a place of oneness with that person who's on that side of the room.
And Wes, can we put the Zoom up so the people in the room can see? We've got a few people here. We've got Dr. Vern, John Glasgow,
Hey, Vern.
Marilyn Boniger, Sarah Crawford, and Mary Spoon, who has a comment that says, having personal boundaries has helped her to be less judgmental with others. And we're going to try to show them on the screen, but that was her comment. And I said, we're working on getting them to be able to speak into the room next week, so we appreciate your patience.
Okay, well, somebody's going to be camera shy. We want to hear from you, though, so go ahead and speak.
I just wanted to share this because this just happened to me last night, and it was a wonderful experience. I believe that the path to unity is truly just seeing each other the way God sees us. No other way. I have no reason to forgive you. I have no reason to judge you. I mean, I might, like you said, I might have discernment about some things you do or you don't do, but it's not my position. I just have to look at you the way God looks at you. And last night, I went to visit a friend, and on the way out, I stopped by a gas station. Oh, and I saw this beautiful, just young girl, and it was just heartbreaking because she was just passed out, probably on drugs, probably on something. And and it sounds ridiculous, and I was crying over her just a few minutes ago. I just loved her. So, and I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know who she is.
Hold it close. Hold the mic close.
I don't know who she is. By the looks of it, she was even probably a drug dealer. But she just looked beautiful. And my heart just went out to her. So that's the second part of my comment. What do you do with that? So you feel unity with somebody. What do you do with that? What's the next step?
There's a song that's going through my head as you're sharing. What if Jesus comes back like that? It's an old country western song. What if Jesus comes back like that? 2 months pregnant, hooked on crack. If we are looking with the face of God, with the eyes of God, which is the ultimate goal, I believe, the human ego is going to come in here and go, yeah, but I got to keep safe. Can the human ego and the eyes of God exist in the same field at the same time? They say that we have entertained angels unaware, that everywhere we go, everyone we're experiencing is an ambassador of the one, is a cell, a hand, a foot, an eye, as Marilyn was talking about, in the body that is God. What do we have to shift and change within ourselves? Because I would love to say I live there 24/7, that I see the beautiful person and I see the pregnant woman hooked on crack, or the homeless man who's drunk and obnoxious on the street, or the person who's angry, who's in my field, who's angry and espousing something that I don't agree with. Are they the same eyes that I use for each person? And if they aren't, what do I need to do to develop the consistency of my seeing, the consistency of my hearing, the consistency of my heart, and still keep myself safe? I don't know. Inclusivity. We talked on Sunday, and I hit it pretty hard on Sunday, that everybody belongs. Everybody is welcome here. Everybody must be welcome here. And guess what? When we speak that, when we live into that energy, the people that are going to push our borders and our boundaries are going to show up in our field. They're going to be invited in. You are producing the show that says, really, do you really believe that? That everywhere you look, you see the face of God? And I celebrated on Sunday that we attract rebels and mavericks and misfit toys. I'm proud of that. But boy, it isn't always easy. It would be much easier if it was homogenized and I just spoke a truth from the platform and you all agreed with it and we had a nice social hour and we went home. That would be easier. But is the unity, is the depth of unity, the grounding of oneness greater when we can do it with completely differing opinions, differing behaviors? I believe we can. That's why we're here. I wouldn't be doing it if we weren't. But we have to all have a common buy-in. And what would that common buy-in to do it in community? We have to have a set of rules that says this is the acceptable behavior. And at Unity we say, have the eyes of God. See beyond the behavior. See beyond the veil, as the reading talked about, and find the face of God, no matter how hard it is, even when it is difficult. Hey, Danielle.
Hello.
I was really excited when I knew Danielle was going to be here tonight because she does work in this field of inclusivity. So I know she has something wise to say.
Let's see how wise it is. I wanted to touch on what you were talking about earlier in terms of having different thoughts and opinions in the room, and do we have to homogenize the conversation to get to unity? And I would encourage us to remember that growth is on the edge of discomfort, right? We've heard Richard say that many a time, but there's so much truth in that. And so if we're just listening to an echo chamber, if we're just having an amen corner where we're only having our own thoughts and reflections echoed back at us, then we don't grow. And if we do believe that understanding is necessary to get to another level, well, we can't get to understanding if we're only understanding our own thoughts and reflections. But that question of how do we do that, we have to remember, in my opinion, the art of conversation versus the art of convincing. And so when we get into this space, whether it's one-on-one or whether we're the only one holding a certain opinion in a group and we're trying to convince everyone, so we're decided that by the end of this half hour, I've convinced the entire group to think the way that I thought when I came in, we're not listening. And if we're not listening, we can't get to understanding. We can't see the humanity of the people who might not hold the same views that we have. We have to go into it thinking it's okay if we all walk out we're not going to walk out the way we walked in. That's not possible. But it's okay if we don't all walk out the way that I walked in, which is hard.
I love that. Is it possible that a message could be delivered, a message of oneness on the platform, and there'd be 300 people in the room, and all 300 people would leave with a different message, would have heard something different? And is it my job that it needs to all go out the room with the same thing, or is it maybe the 300 people all left a little more compassionate, a little bit more loving, a little bit more aware of their oneness with all creation? Who cares about the specifics of what you got? I have had people come up to me on Sundays and say, I loved it when you said this. I never said that, but it's what they got. And then somebody else will say, I love it when you said this. I didn't say that, but they got what they needed to make the world a brighter, more beautiful place. And I think that's pretty amazing. Thank you for doing that.
As a teacher, I can tell you, I say a lot of things, and it's received in different ways, but they get what they need to so that they can move forward and be healthier and stronger and wiser.
There are some things that I say that I don't think anybody hears,
Well,
but that's my growth.
Actually, it's really interesting because people online are piggybacking on, and Sarah Crawford says, Richard basically just said this by the time I could type it, so it's
well, it's good to be repeated.
She says, I think the key to seeing the good in others, even those you disagree with, is to look at others through the lens of God and not through the lens of ego.
Amen.
And then Marilyn says, I believe that both judgment and discernment are necessary. Either judgment or discernment that seeks to change or other a person by ignoring or demeaning them is negative and harmful. Listening with the desire to understand is needed for unity.
I love it.
And then for me, I was thinking about it when I come at a situation from a place of wholeness, if I'm feeling particularly whole that day, I'm able to not make assumptions, and I'm able to much more easily see the God in you or the God in a situation. So I have to come back to myself when I find myself struggling to say, what is my feeling about myself? Am I seeing my own God self right now? So rather than looking out to say, well, I want to see Susie's God self, how am I viewing myself? Because when I'm able to see the God that is Julie, everything else seems to fall in line.
As the song talked about, there is only one of us. You are my reflection. Could it be that when I'm really bothered by something and I'm having a real reaction to something, that if I can just pause and breathe and go, what is this awakening within me? What is this poking within me? What is it that needs to be looked at, that I'm so angry and so upset and so reactive to what this person just said, which is just words? There's a mirror before me, and maybe I need to return to my wholeness before I can ever see wholeness in you. I think that that's truth. I have to know my God essence before I can have the eyes of God. I have to know the divine soul of my very being, and if I don't, guess what? The people that you're attracting into your play are going to point out to you as a mirror, this is where you've got some growth areas.
And I love when you said that, because we're writing our play as we go. We've all done theater, and we're writing the play as we go. So you could play a character in my play and you're the villain one moment and you're the hero the next. And probably today you've been both those things already. So.
Oh, good. That means
So
we're growing.
well, that's exactly. So it depends on what play are we writing at any 1 minute. But God is really the star of the play. If we can remember that God is the ultimate protagonist, we can get out of the way and let.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Mary Spoon, who's online, says that God that is Mary is her personal boundary and allows her to love more.
Personal boundary. I want to play with that a little bit. There must be rules of conduct. We live on earth, and one of my favorite scriptures that I often quote is pay unto Caesar. Jesus said this, pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's and pay unto God what is God's. And I used that in the message, I believe, last Sunday. Pay unto Caesar. There are consequences. There are rules of conduct on this earthly journey so that we don't devolve into chaos. But then pay unto God what is God's. Is it possible that we have to, in an environment, let's take a Unity Church, 300 people show up, and here we are, there has to be a code of conduct, a code of behavior. But we don't give up the view that you are God, even though you're misbehaving in the rules. Is that possible, and is it easy? Well, I would say yes, it is possible, and no, it is not easy. It's so much easier to run to a place of blame and shame and victimhood and anger and upset and division. Division is actually the easy way out. It takes a way more courage to look for the presence of God than it does to look for the presence of evil. It's easy to run to a place of us and them, you and me. And the world, there's a whole bunch of people in the world that will join you and join your army to be in that place. It takes warriors of love, warriors of courage, warriors of light, in order to sit in the fire of the uncomfortableness when that person is showing up who isn't so beautiful in my eyes. Okay, they're a mirror for me. Let me find my God eyes to see what's on there. And I believe that's what's going to heal the planet. And what's happened is we've gone the easy route. Humanity has gone the easy route in every square inch of what we do. Let's run to our corners, and let's take our army with us, and let's sling mud across the ring at the opponent, the other. But again, going to our master teacher, Jesus told us to love our enemies, to love our enemies. What good are you if you just love the people that love you? In your corner, that's what you get. I'm hanging out with people who love me and the way I think and the way I behave. And Jesus called us out clearly in tough love. You're no better than the Pharisees or the tax collectors. Walk across the ring and go be love, share love, find love on the other side of the ring. And that's what will heal the world and will heal the divide that we are in right now in every square inch of our humanity on the planet. That's why I say that what we do here in this church is so vitally important. We're proving a concept that we can be in a place where there is no ring. There are no opponents. There are no enemies. So I like to carry Jesus' thought further. You have no enemies. And Abraham Lincoln, I think, was the one who said to the woman who was challenging him about, he needs to go after his enemy. You need to vanquish your enemy. And Lincoln said in his wisdom, my dear woman, if I make my enemy my friend, have I not vanquished my enemy? And maybe the internal work is I need to vanquish the thought of enemy in my own mind and in my own heart, and that people will eventually show up the way I see them.
He put every one of his detractors in his cabinet, and that was one of the paramount things he did as a president. And there was a book called Team of Rivals that talks about how he took every single person that said he would fail, that said the opposite thing, and put them closest to him. Not to keep your enemies closer because they're your enemies, but to learn from them, and it made him a great president.
So when you have rules of conduct, does it ultimately exclude somebody? When you have, certainly the churches that I talked about Sunday, the LGBTQ community, they have a set of rules, religious rules, that prohibits someone being gay and coming into their community and worshiping. We don't have that rule, but we just got to be real. We like to say in Unity we have no dogma. Well, we do have a set of rules. We have a set of standards. We have a set of belief systems that dictate what we do here. Is it possible to have that and not exclude anybody? Or do people just self-select, I don't belong here? What do you think about that?
This is the advanced portion of the evening. That's a hard one.
It's really, there's nothing easy about this. How does one, in a very public environment that's openly inviting everybody, and our border is not the LGBTQ community, certainly, we don't have a problem there. But where is that border? Where is it that person who comes into our door and it's like, ooh, this behavior is unacceptable here? It may be as bold as bringing a gun into the environment and shooting somebody, but let's not take it to that extreme. What is the behavior that does not belong in this? Or is every behavior welcomed with the idea that transformation can happen in the energy of oneness? I don't have an answer. I'm just asking questions. But it's important that we ask these questions, that we let them live in us in such a way to know where that edge is. Where is that border? Because it's going to inform our safety. It's going to inform the edge of our namaste, the edge of our oneness, and the edge of our ability, which is always being called to expand. My capacity to love every day must be just a little bit more expansive than it was yesterday. And that's the work that we do here. Anybody want to comment on that or have anything to say about that or have another question? Mary Ann's got her hand up again. Oh, good. It's Chester, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember tonight.
What about being a rascal? How does that flow into what you were just speaking about?
So how do we
rascal.
define the word rascal? You get to know that. What does rascal mean to you? I hear rascal and I go, oh, somebody fun's about to come into the room.
Well, kind of off the page a little bit, right? Kind of stepping outside the box and perhaps, explaining something to somebody differently that maybe they could understand it in a fun way to maybe engage them a little better or maybe just show your faults.
So you and I probably find agreement there. Does the environment of unity, of oneness, have to have a common definition for the word rascal? A rascal just came in, and how many different opinions are there about what that rascal that just walked into the room? Do we have to have a common definition of rascal in order to survive in unity?
It's more fun.
It's more fun. Somebody might think, I don't feel safe. So you and I are saying, here comes a rascal, this is going to be more fun. We're going to go outside the box. And somebody over here is going, I don't feel safe. I'm using my faculty of discernment because I've run in with rascals, and your definition of rascal is different than mine.
Surely.
Surely. How do we, so we all have different borders and boundaries, and we all create our own safety. What is the responsibility of the whole environment to create that safety? I'm standing up here saying inviting rebels and mavericks and now rascals and misfit toys into the environment. Well, the person over here doesn't feel safe now. Where does the responsibility lie in the energy of oneness in a church? Say there's 300 of us here. Where does the responsibility lie? Anybody have an idea?
The golden rule?
The golden rule. Okay, that's a border. That's a regulation that we have. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I will treat the rascal the way I want to be treated. I don't have to understand
That doesn't
it.
always work.
Oh, let's talk about that. That doesn't always work. So back to the criticism that a unity church gets, you're deluding yourself. It's not possible to have diversity and unity in the same field.
Sometimes you're just being an ass, though,
Okay?
It might take it too far.
Are you speaking about me particularly?
Myself, I can only speak for myself.
So sometimes you're just being an ass. Where does that judgment come in? Is that a necessary judgment? This behavior is being an ass. And
It's
it's
good
not
to step back and realize it is probably the best thing.
Got to forgive myself.
Right?
But does the rascal have the ability to step back and go, I'm being an ass, I need to change my behavior?
But it's perception, not intention. That's what you learn in HR. It's so how they're receiving your rascalness. So then for me, I think it's about reading the room. If you and I are having an exchange and I happen to like rascals, but if you're sensing that I don't feel safe, then I think it's incumbent on the rascal, if they're self-aware, to say, all right, let me back up. But sometimes it's perception, not intention, and we have to have the responsibility for ourselves to say, I don't feel safe. Then in an environment, if if the rascal doesn't adjust, then you bring in you.
Right. You have to bring in the borders, the shared agreements of what constitutes a loving environment. We're all seeking peace. We talked about that. We're all seeking love. We're all seeking a greater expression of ourselves. You just can't bring your rascalness in here because it's too much for me. No, you want to live into your greatness, and there are people that have changed the world through their rascalness. There are people online I know that come into an environment with the idea of, let's go outside the box here. Let's step outside the box and let's make us all a little uncomfortable. I actually like doing that myself. I really enjoy stirring the pot a little bit. And I'm responsible for my behavior. I can notice, oh, somebody's not comfortable, I need to back up a little bit. But they're responsible for their behavior. What happens many times in a common desire of oneness is we make one person responsible, or we make a group of people responsible. It's, again, the responsibility of the whole to manage their own borders and boundaries. Where they are, in my Father's house are many rooms and mansions. We're all at different places in our ability to handle rascal behavior, or difficult behavior, or differing opinions. Can it be that somebody can be behaving in a really bad way, arguing with me in an angry way about my opinion that they disagree with, and I can still love them? And who is responsible for that? Me. Not the minister, not the board, not the staff, not the person next to you. It's to be totally aware of the namaste within me. And if I cannot find namaste in your presence, I will find namaste in a separate place from you. I'll sit over there, you sit over there, and somehow, and I've seen this happen in this church because there is an environment of a common desire for unity, those two people that were sitting over there eventually now come and they're upset when they can't sit together in the room. Does that take patience? Yeah. Does it take time? Yeah. Does it take uncomfortableness? Yeah. There's nothing easy about being in a unity church where we invite in the eclecticness and diversity and find oneness in the middle of it. Did somebody have the microphone back there? No?
David Pritchard says, we talked about the golden rule. He says the platinum rule, do unto others as they would be done unto, and then says, so much delicious dialogue tonight. And then Mary Spoon says, as a child of God, the rascal is welcome. I remain the same child of God.
And Marianne wanted to say one more thing.
I don't know. I think ultimately being a rascal does not lead you on the path toward spirituality. That's just my take on it.
And you have the right to hold that opinion. I would say that my growth has come from stirring up the waters a little bit. With the LGBTQ community and the dialogues that we've had here, and this is where this dialogue came from, the experts on the film said, what is the solution to getting more oneness in the world? And they said, trouble the waters. Trouble the waters. And there's an old song that says, God's going to trouble the waters. Well, God troubles the waters through us. We change the paradigm of environments by being willing to be courageous enough. And does the world need more spiritual rascals? That would be my opinion. Does it make yours wrong? Absolutely not.
I tend to lean toward Buddhism, and my personal spiritual path, my view on it is things that lead me toward spiritual growth would not be to do things that rascalness to me means doing things. This is just what comes
But it's a different definition than what Chester has.
What comes to my mind.
Sure,
is rascalness,
and again,
is maybe not what comes to someone else's minds. I think
Right.
of things like my nephew shaking a bottle of Coke so that when you open it, it spews all over everything, you know.
Put your microphone so they can.
You know.
So,
But-
again, is it possible, and I tend to have a Buddhist heart as well, and one of my favorite things that the Buddhists do, which is defining my definition of rascal, is that they do chanting, they do prayer, they do meditation, but they do this argument thing where they challenge each other on their belief system. They come in and they stir the waters and they laugh and they clap and they poke at each other to make sure that that theology becomes deeper. For me, and it is only for me, and it doesn't work for you. So you're going to find the pocket in here let's not do that. Let's not stir the waters. I'm going to go find the pockets that make me a little bit uncomfortable, that stir me up. There are people in this church that love to question the answers. And I feel like a Buddhist, where I'm being challenged. And one of two things happen. A greater truth begins to emerge for me, or I get more grounded in the truth that I had to begin with. But I'm more of me at the other side. We are at the end of our time. Is there one person online that wanted to say something as a closing?
They were just saying that John the Baptist was a rascal. Jesus could be seen as a rascal.
Oh, Jesus was the biggest rascal on the planet.
And of course, get in good trouble. John Lewis.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if we've, this Rapping with the Rev, this is a brand new experiment. I really appreciate those of you who had the courage to come up and be on film. We'll get more comfortable with that. Those of you online, if this had meaning to you, we're working on you being able to speak into the room so you don't have to type it in. But I want to thank Julie for making sure, and Wes and Sebastian, to make sure we could get your voice into this room.
How about you guys show yourself just a little bit for 1 second, you Zoomers who don't have your cameras on, so we can see you.
Yeah, it's important. We're connected, and we're just
There we go. There's Mary.
We're choosing a different way to connect, but no way is wrong or right. We're just choosing the way that works for us. I hope that those of you who enjoyed this will invite somebody to come join us next Wednesday. This is the new format. Some people will come only for the meditation, and that's okay. Some people, as it was before, will only come for this dialogue. Is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? There's your way, there's my way, and there's our way, and we're going to figure it out together. Let's close in a moment of prayer. Oh, breathing together as we started. Let's breathe together, and to know that you breathe differently than I do. You have a longer or a deeper breath or a shorter one. It makes no difference. We're breathing together, and we're finding our way home together. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, infinite presence doing business as every word spoken here, every question, every answer, every not knowing. It's all the presence of God. Let us move into this time and this week with the eyes of God and the ears of God, maybe a little bit more than we had before we came into this time tonight. Gratitude for the way that God has shown up as everybody who has spoken and those who have just borne witness to what has happened here this evening. I hope to see you all next week. Have a beautiful and blessed week. Namaste. I guess I better play some music.